Hello and welcome. I'm Karen Caffin-Terrace, one of the Associate State Directors for AARP here in Michigan. And
And
go ahead.
yeah, and I wasn't sure if you're going to introduce me, Karen, but you don't have to. I'm Jennifer Firestein, and I'm an associate state director as well. And I work in Grand Rapids and Traverse City.
And I have the Greater Lansing area. So welcome to AARP's Best Kept Secrets. And today's topic is the lighter side of AARP. For those of you who have joined us before, you know that we started doing AARP's Best Kept Secrets because there's so much of AARP that most people have no idea that we're involved with. We've done things on tech, we've done things on the graduate program that's pretty new. And today we want just to share with you those fun things that we do. If you've joined us anytime over the last 2 years since the pandemic started, you've probably seen us do things, informational and educational topics, like home fit or emergency preparedness or how to use your smartphone type things. But we do so much more. Those are important, right, Jen? Those are
They
important.
are, right. And, our advocacy efforts, that's the root of what we do at AARP, but we all want to have fun. So we incorporate a lot of fun things along with the hard work that we do in fighting for the rights of older adults. So today's episode on the lighter side of AARP is going to showcase all of the fun things that we do, the lighter things. And I just got back from Traverse City. I was there last week, up there doing a member discount game and sponsorship with the Traverse City Pit Spitters baseball team. So we had a great time up there and got to engage with a lot of people and a lot of AARP members and guests. So it was a great time. And that's definitely a light thing that we do is, making sure that we're having fun and showing up in the community.
Yeah. The baseball games are one of my favorites. So to our audience watching, please feel free to put any comments, questions over in the chat area there on Facebook and YouTube, and we will try to get to those. But first, you want to talk about some of the stuff we do nationally, Jen?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, of course, when we had to go under lockdown and we were being very careful and cautious about going out into the community, we shifted everything that we did to a virtual platform. And so we made a quick pivot of doing things that still would be fun and lighthearted and engaging for members. And so we shifted everything to a virtual platform and developed the Virtual Community Center. And this is a national effort that highlights all of the things that are taking place across the entire country, not just in Michigan. And it's really neat to see all of the creativity of all of the different states and the national office that are creating really neat, engaging events for viewers who want to stay virtual. So we have the Virtual Community Center, and you and I were just going through this ahead of time, looking at the things that are coming up. And I said, oh my gosh, there's line dancing coming up tomorrow night. And we have cooking classes, and there's trivia, and there's all kinds of really cool things that people can engage in. So on the Virtual Community Center here, if there's something that catches your eye, you can register for it, and all of the events here are for free. So that's the cool thing too, is that you can do things with people that are in California or Alaska or Hawaii or wherever, and you're all on a virtual platform doing all of the same things. So it's kind of a neat opportunity. So as we're scrolling through that, you can see some of the cool things that we have coming up. Again, just a great resource for you to be able to connect with things that are taking place across the country with other members across the country and engaging in fun, light ways.
Yeah, and there's so much there. There's concerts, there's all kinds of things. We also, one of the things that we have nationally is we have a partnership, or actually we brought Senior Planet into the fold. They're now part of AARP, and they do a lot of fun things like virtual museum tours and things like that. So there's sort of no end to like you said, the creativity across the country that is brought to you via this Virtual Community Center. and it's absolutely fabulous. But
Yeah.
that just isn't just a national level. We also have a lot of great things happening in our communities here in Michigan. So Jen mentioned that she was just up in Traverse City and they did a baseball game with the Pit Spitters, which I think is a fabulous name. So, uh, and
Actually, I learned, here's a little bit of trivia. I actually learned that it was voted on by the community. So the community, they were renaming their team and it was based on, public vote. So that's where that came from.
well, they have a good sense of humor up there. A
They
sense
sure
of
do.
fun, a sense of fun. So yeah, so locally we do things in our various communities like that. So, and you can find everything that we're doing. You see here we have our Michigan virtual and in-person events. So you can find all the stuff we do, both fun and the other things too, the educational, informational here on this website. And you just to get to this, you just go to aarp.org/mi. But we have not just the Pit Spitters, but we have the Detroit Tigers coming up in August. We have the Whitecaps game in Grand Rapids. When is that one, Jen?
That's August 16th. So the Detroit Tigers game is August 11th, and the West Michigan Whitecaps is August 16th. So yeah, it's the season for baseball. So we've got two more games coming up.
Yeah. And we also are restarting the movies for grown-ups. And Jen and I just got an email. Actually, an email came through yesterday asking if we were interested. It's actually a national program, Movies for Grown-ups, doesn't it? But they ask if we want to do it in our communities. So I raised my hand and said yes, and it's going to be the new Top Gun movie sometime early September. So stay tuned for that. You can find that once they are scheduled right there on the Michigan in-person and virtual events page. And these will be in person at theaters in like Grand Rapids or Lansing
Yes,
or
stay tuned
Detroit.
because they'll be kind of throughout Michigan, depending on what theaters are picked. So, yeah,
Right.
and we had been doing movies for grown-ups virtually, which was a nice way to keep people connected during the pandemic. But it'll be nice to get back to doing them in person again.
Yeah, we do always have a lot of fun at
Yeah,
those, talking to people and doing surveys and trivia and stuff before the movies start. We also have an AARP book club, an AARP Michigan book club that's virtual, and they read fun stuff and more in-depth stuff. But that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of camaraderie that has been built on that. So if you are interested in reading that, our Marianne Samper, who is one of our volunteers, has led that for several years. She pivoted well and from used to be in person, and it will stay virtual. So um, that's been great. We also Jen started something a number of years ago called AARP on Tap, and we've been virtual. Are you starting it back in person now, Jen?
we will be doing something in September. It'll be a volunteer recruitment event. And, as we talk about the lighter side of AARP, we can't forget to talk about volunteering, Karen. But the AARP on Tap, we have one more virtual this year, which is actually two more. We've got one coming up on August 23rd that we will be doing. And our Cicerone will be talking about boozeless beverages because not everybody wants alcohol for a number of reasons. So we'll be talking about boozeless beverages in August. And then our AARP on Tap virtual event in November, just before Thanksgiving, will be on Thanksgiving dinner pairings with different wines and beers. And we don't have the date set and the venue set yet for our in-person event. That's something that my volunteers and I are still working on. But again, you'll find the information about that on the aarp.org/mi website. But that was something that we started before the pandemic. Ton of fun. We would rotate to different breweries, and we always had some kind of brain health activity. The breweries would give us tours, and just it was always a well-attended event. And what was kind of neat about that too is because it caught on, and older adults want to go out for happy hour. It expanded to other parts of not just Michigan, but also the country as well. So there were a lot of communities that started doing AARP on Tap because of just the great fun that we had.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun. I've been to them. And I did do last year. I did a virtual wine tasting, which was really, really well done by the couple of wineries that we had presenting on that. So we have, as you can see, all kinds of really great things. One thing I do want to talk about is if we go to the AARP national website and the travel. So you can go to aarp.org/travel, and there is so much great information. You can, if you just want to kind of think, what's out there, give me some ideas. You can click on, travel ideas or destinations. Um, they have stuff, as you can see on the screen here, on national parks, on beach vacations. As we get later into the year, there'll be stuff more like on, winter vacations or skiing and things like that. And there's all kinds of trip or tips here. Once you kind of, got your getaway to the Great Smoky Mountains planned, then you might want to look at, other tips. There's stuff on food and beverage, or food and I don't know what they call it, but in locations that you're going to be visiting and things like that. So that it's a great area of our website. Um, Lots of great ideas there, and there's on your screen you're seeing ideas for family reunion planners, which I know that I have friends who've planned family reunions and have said this is a great resource. So
Well, and right now with travel, Karen, being so chaotic, right? I mean, my goodness, with just the whole travel industry just being a little turned upside down, and flights getting canceled, and shortage of pilots and flight attendants, travel can be a little rough right now. So this is a great way for people, if they have travel hiccups and snafus, to go get information, just to kind of figure out, like, what do I do in a situation like this. And when we're talking about travel too, Michigan, if you don't want to even travel outside of the state of Michigan, you have a lot of options and opportunities here in Michigan, with a lot of Michigan's hidden gems. And being up in Traverse City, we went to Sutton's Bay while we were up there, and just kind of scoped around up there, and there's just so many great small communities here in Michigan, up in the UP and stuff. So, traveling locally, it prevents any kind of flight snafus. It also saves money on fuel. You get to support local businesses here in Michigan, and just keep our travel industry going strong too.
right, and with that, we actually, I am starting one of these type of shows, sort of, called Michigan Hidden Gems, where we'll be exploring some of those areas in Michigan that people aren't as well as familiar with. And it might be an area you're familiar with, but not necessarily the area that we're going to be exploring in that part. So, and I think our first one is going to be September 9th. It's going to be virtual. And then the idea is, as we move forward, there will be that we'll have a sort of a virtual sneak peek, and there'll be an in-person component too at the actual location that we're talking about, at the hidden gem that we're talking about.
So
So
do you
you
know what hidden gems you're going to touch on, Karen?
Right now, I'm not going to give that away. Go ahead and look at our the ARP Michigan website at aarp.org/mi, and get yourself a little peek at what we're doing.
That you left quite the carrot dangling for us.
Yeah, well, we want people to take a look at that and see and check it out for themselves. So, so yeah. So if I don't see any comments that have come in, let's take a look here. No, I don't see anything. Um, so, anyways,
So Karen, I'm curious. I just briefly mentioned, like, volunteering being a ton of fun, and the volunteers we have, gosh, over 250 volunteers across the state of Michigan, all the way up into the UP as well. And they all stay with us because of one, the impact of the work that we do when it comes to education and advocacy, but it's the outreach, it's the opportunity to engage with people out in the community that really is the fun part. So Karen, what would you say your volunteers keep them coming back year after year?
I think at AARP, we really work to engage you in the areas that you're interested in, where your passions are. And I know that the volunteers that I work with in Lansing they have brought their passions to life through creating events, creating programs. Programming is kind of like the AARP on Tap was John's
Mm-hmm.
uh, idea, one of Jen's volunteers. And he really took it and sort of ran with it and really built the program. Um, and I've had that happen with that's how a couple of our programming, our emergency preparedness presentation was born out of one of the passions of one of our volunteers in Lansing. The smartphone class was the same. Had a couple of folks who were interested in that. I think just being able to engage in areas that they like, and the friendships that are made is a huge part of it. I know that not only do the volunteers in Lansing get together with each other at our annual meetings or at AARP events, they get together outside of that and do things. So, and we do a lot of fun things. I know we both have done picnics in the last month with our volunteers, like our first get together in person in over 2 years.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
like, oh my gosh, we're all back
yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah. So volunteering can be a lot of fun with AARP.
And we make it fun for our volunteers because we know that there are so many great organizations out there that have really important missions, and volunteers can really use their time anywhere. And so we want to make sure that one, the work is meaningful for them, but that two, they have a lot of fun. And you
Right.
mentioned, my volunteer John Zeman, who started AARP on Tap. He also launched Learn a Latte. And so volunteers really have a lot of autonomy in being able to say, I have an idea for something that I really want to launch. The book club, another example,
Yep.
where it was a volunteer, Marianne, who said, I want to do a book club. I am an avid reader. I want to do this. And so she launched the book club, and a lot of volunteers just, have these great ideas, and we support them how we can and develop these programs. So yeah, so I think volunteering is a really light, fun side of AARP.
Yeah, yeah. And they work in teams. It's not like it's one person, that is carrying the load. They work in teams. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
do see a question here about the book club and asking about the book. And yeah, we actually know what the books are going to be, through uh, at this point through the end of this year, about 3 months. So probably in October, they'll pick the first 6 months of next year. So, and if you go on the ARP Michigan events page and click on the book club, that you can see, I think it has not just the August book, but I think it has the next couple of books on there
Yeah.
also.
And as we talk about the lighter side of things, the book for August is Anxious People. So,
There you go.
right.
So
Yeah, and what I want to say too is what's neat is that everything that we do is recorded. So even this show here is recorded. So if you want to come back and watch it, or you want to share it with somebody, you can. All of the events that we do virtually are recorded. And so like fun things like a drum circle, we do a rhythm drum circle once a month on Saturday mornings, and we have a renowned percussionist who leads people in a drum circle in the privacy of their own home, and everybody's banging and beating drums and whatever it might be that they can grab at home. And so you can go back and watch those. You can go back and watch Learn a Latte, the AARP on Tap virtual events. So anything that we have done virtually, it's housed right on our Michigan website, also on the Michigan Facebook page. You can just scroll down and kind of search for those things on the Facebook page. But you can go back and watch anything. So that's what's kind of neat about it too.
yep. So there was a question real quick about where they can access the recordings, and those are on both upcoming events and recent past events are on that AARP Michigan virtual and in-person events
Yeah.
page.
And then on Facebook, you can just click on videos on the Facebook page as well. So you can
Yeah,
access them in two different locations.
right, right. And I see Lauren from Southern California says great information, but she's located there. Your California offices are doing things that very similar to what we're doing. I think I'm going to guess that they probably have a local, a California events page somewhere. So I would just check with them.
Yep. And Lauren, too, also you can go to the national page, the Virtual Community Center, and that lists events that are taking place all across the country. Because again, we know without having to be in person, virtual events have no boundaries. So that's kind of
Right.
neat. So you can tap into any events that are taking place anywhere across the country.
Yep. Yep. So, all right, let's take a look here, see if there's anything else. Yeah, and a good point that our producer makes is that our virtual events available not just to members, but to non-members also. So to everybody, what
Yeah.
we do for all.
Okay, Karen. So I'm going to ask you, what's the next fun thing that you're doing?
Probably we are doing a grandparents' day and Fit Lot grand reopening. So as you know, for the AARP 60th anniversary, which happened in 2018, I guess, AARP gifted every state one adult fitness park called a Fit Lot. And it took a couple of years to kind of work through all 50 states and the territories in like Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, getting those installed. Ours was installed in the greater Lansing area, in Lansing, actually down by the river front. And in 2020, we were in that summer, we were going to have a grand opening then, but obviously the pandemic kept us from doing that. So, and pre-pandemic, we have for years done a big Grandparents' Day event with, typically it was like about 45 activities that grandparents and grandchildren could participate in together. And obviously with the pandemic, we weren't able to do that. But the Fit Lot, so we're going to do a Fit Lot re-grand opening in conjunction with a small Grandparents' Day event this year on September 10th, down in Lansing, down by the riverfront. So here's some information. Oops, it went away. There was some information there. It's on our virtual events, in-person events page if you want to learn more.
And then even after the event, the Fit Lot is there permanently, so you can go and enjoy some outdoor exercise with your grandkids or family members or anybody. So no
Yep,
age
yep.
limit to use the adult playground.
Yes, and the city of Lansing has classes down there, various kinds of classes down there. And we'll be doing some, introduction on how to use the equipment there at the Fit Lot for people. We'll be having also on that day, we'll be having some, how to exercise with your grandchildren. So the things that they can do together as exercise, which is, always fun. Yeah, so it'll be a fun event.
Good
How about
stuff.
you? Other than
Yeah.
what do you have going on?
My next upcoming thing, we've got the Whitecaps baseball game coming up, and then we are also doing a Grandparents' Day event with Grand Rapids Children's Museum. So we'll be doing that. It's probably going to be the week of Grandparents' Day, and we'll be doing some fun things with them. And all the information will be posted. So it's still in the works to try to make it the best event possible.
Excellent. That sounds like fun. I do want to mention too, we haven't mentioned the two other communities that we're in deeply. One is Detroit. Like I'm actually in Detroit right now because this morning I was down at the riverfront with the river walkers. The river front conservancy has a walking program every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And AARP is a sponsor of that this year, is the sponsor of that this year and next year. So we're there every week. Today I did a presentation towards the end of that time period of the walking. We do a presentation once a week on different topics, and walk with the folks, get to know people. So if you're in the Detroit area, join us for that on Tuesdays or Thursdays.
Yeah. And Karen, you mentioned the other communities. We also work in Jackson and Flint and the UP. So there's things taking place all throughout the state of Michigan.
Yep. Yep. So, all right. Well, I think that we have covered most of it. I encourage people to take a look at the AARP Michigan website and click on our events page. Take a look and see what's there or what we've done in the past that you might be interested in. And check out the virtual community center for all the great things happening, not just in Michigan, but around the country.
All right. Thanks, Karen. And thanks, everyone. And have fun.
Yeah, have a great day. Enjoy the summer.